couldn't be more fitting than starting over in Oceania, or more precisely Aotearoa, New Zealand, with Noema Toia Williams. Noema describes herself as a great-grandmother and an adult educator, and she's also Maori and an esteemed researcher in the field of language, and it's important for Indigenous peoples. The theme for Noema will be Kōtahitanga. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Why is the Maori language so crucial in Aotearoa, New Zealand? What can we all learn from the Indigenous Maori tradition today? And can it inspire new education and our understanding of what it means to be human?
Martin, thank you. How can education make us more human? Education for me, I think, began when I was in my mum's tummy before birth. My grandfather always said that the baby hears everything. The rhythm of the world is from the mother's heartbeat. And so that really is the beginning of an education. The home is the first educator. The home sets the environment for the child. In my home, we had up to 4 generations dwelling there at some time. In my current home, I have 3 generations in this home. Each one of us contributes to the education of the people around them. I think we can talk about education as either being formal or informal. And much of the education we learn is actually in the informal arena. Much of our humanity actually comes, from my perspective, comes from my cultural background. Now, one of the most important aspects of culture is language. Language is one of the gifts to the world. Regardless of whether they are dominant languages or languages that, like Te Reo Māori, are struggling in the modern world, they still portray or provide aspects of humanity that nothing else can. Every culture has language that really, in some cases, there is no vocabulary for in other languages. So languages are unique, and that uniqueness generates a whole lot of cultural activity. And some of aspects of the culture and the humanity that my culture, and Te Reo Māori, actually is unique to us. However, I would also say that what we have considered as uniquely Māori is actually common to every human being on this planet. There's love, there's joy. There are aspects of humanity that we gain from not just the home, but the people around us. What is of significance is how that works in everyday life around the kitchen table. When you're eating, when you're meeting, when you're greeting people, when you're farewelling them, these are aspects of humanity that we all share. I'm not saying at all that only Māori people do this, but we do it in a unique way, just as every other culture does. And one of the things that I always remember is that I am simply a shadow of the past. I am a manifestation of my elders, of my ancestors. My grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, are manifestations of what we have built around them in the education arena, in the home. I have to say that the educative process in my growing up was one in which we were denied Te Reo Māori. It was not a part of the colonisation regime's political talk to say that Māori mattered. One alarming thing for Māori right now in 2024 is that we have a new coalition government has formed where there is no mention of Māori in any of its political documentary narrative. So one of the things about the revitalisation of Te Reo is not just what has happened recently. It has gone since Te Tiriti o Waitangi, which is the nation's founding document. There was only one tiriti in Te Reo Māori in which 500 chiefs signed. They didn't know what the other document said, which was very, very different to the one in Te Reo Māori. Kōtahitanga, Martin, you've said that beautifully, and you've pronounced the Aotearoa, all of those things. And that, for me, is just gold. Because Te Reo Māori, for us, is the most beautiful language. Now, the challenge has always been that it is not a part of the political, it has not been a part of the political narrative. It has not been a part of the legislative narrative until very recently in the 80s. Given the type of narrative, the political narrative that we are facing today, it means that we have to work a lot harder and a lot more strategic in revitalisation, language revitalisation in this country. So some of the steps that have been taken have been protest, have been legislative, have been protest against legislation, etc., generally framed in the protest field. However, in November of last year, we had a coalition, we have also Māori groups and organisations that have called Māori together in several huge meetings, like 10,000, 30,000 people have turned up, which is a form of protest, but it is now of a situation where people are more strategic. We have taken a more strategic phase. So there have been 3 of those such meetings. And the next one will be held next month in a different part of the country. So these meetings move right around the country. Nobody expected 10,000 people to turn up at the first one. They were running and rushing to get chairs so that there were enough seats for everyone to sit. In the next one, it was a celebration. And when I got Lena's invitation to make a contribution to the book, it was our celebration or our commemoration day of the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi in 1840. And I thought, wow, Kōtahitanga is what brings people together and unites people, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. So we have the spirit in the country, which is quite different to what other protests have been. This has been a time where people have spoken, have provided their heart, really, to why it is that our language is so important, why it is that our kōtahitanga is very important, our unity, the organisation to unite has been one of the great levels of participation that Māori have taken part in. So I think my time is up, but my contribution to the book is actually in blank verse. So you can go through and take a glance at some of the history and the challenges that have been faced, not just for Te Reo Māori, but generally in the whole political arena in this country, to make it what it is today. And we have a lovely country. We have a beautiful country. And I like your smile, Martin. Thank you.